Hello and welcome to Watch Me Work. This is Stephanie, and today I am working on behalf of Kaida Technologies, a cybersecurity company, and they offer services in that industry. I have set them up with a contact relation software called Agile CRM, and we are now configuring the ability for the CRM to send out outbound emails using a domain email address. So a lot of times there's a software that has the functionality of sending out emails, and in order for your email address to be used with high deliverability and used at all in some cases, then you need to configure in your registrar for your website domain name certain keys so that the third-party software, in this case Agile, is a verified sender and receiver to handle email messages using standard email protocols. So it's a security thing and it's a communication thing. You need to basically identify CRM, the tool, into your registrar. If you have a website, you have a registrar most likely. And the top ones here that I'm showing you just to give you an idea of the registrars are Bluehost. To get a domain name like www.something.com or www.something.net, you would need to go through a registrar. There's a couple that are popular that I have heard of often and used. Bluehost is one. Godaddy is a known big player. And there's a bunch of others listed here, but those are the two predominant ones I've seen and used. So the registrar is an account usually on the internet. And we are currently logged in to Todd's or Kaida Technologies account right now. Essentially, you need to get some keys from this system, from your third-party software, and plop them into your DNS table where you can put keys so that you can, again, be a known sender and that the domain website mail handling can occur and communications of all the emails. And what I'm going to show you briefly is if you don't do this configuration that I'm speaking of, then this will happen. You're in the tool that you want to send email from, and you go into send, you put a contact in here, and I put myself in, Stephanie, and I want to send an email through the contact management system, and I want to send it to Stephanie, but I can't because there's no verified sender in this Agile system. In order for me to get a sender, I have to add a new sender in, or I'm going to go over here to admin settings under email settings, and I would want to add in a sender. So I'm going to enter a domain email address in, which, trust me on this, you want to use a domain email address for any major bulk communications you're doing to customers or prospects. And there's a whole bunch of reasons why, ranging from federal anti-spam rules to deliverability effectivity, basically the ability to email somebody and have some level of integrity with the sending in place. Just because you use a domain email address does not mean you are getting delivered 100%, but at least you're doing your due diligence as a company to be compliant with federal spam and to be compliant with, to be successful with deliverability. So those are kind of two important things and have nothing to do with the fact that the email address looks professional from the naked eye. It's more to do with a huge amount of activity that's occurred in the security movements of the internet and web communications and with the effectivity that goes with that, the deliverability. Okay, so we have Agile CRM here. I'm about to verify an email address, right? So that I can send emails from here as this email address. I click it and I verify. It should blow up, and it does. It says I need to authorize Agile to send emails on behalf of this email address. Essentially, this software isn't set up as a legitimately known sender, so anything it receives or sends in the format of an email communication doesn't know. It can't be handled by the domain system or by the email domain server, if you will. So how do I fix this? I essentially come here into the DKIM and SPF, which you can see at Sender Policy Framework and Domain Keys. Those are very common protocols and keys that need to be configured when you're using a third-party solution or anything to send email or receive email as an email address that's a domain address. So we're going to put the domain in. It's really a lot of today's softwares give you everything you need to harmonize the sending capability to your domain registrar, but you need to at least know your website name, which we do. So we're putting in the customer's website name. These are keys that you need to have logged in or configured into your registrar. I showed you earlier the registrars that are most common. It's like GoDaddy and Bluehost, for instance. We're going to use his established GoDaddy account, and we're going to take these 3 keys and essentially move them in, copy them into the GoDaddy account. Let's do it. So we're over here, and we essentially come in here under DNS, Manage Zones. Actually, I should be Manage DNS. I don't know if this will take us to the right screen. Probably not. So let's go to domains. So I'm in GoDaddy. I'm sure it's in Bluehost it'll be very similar, but obviously a different menu. Oops, we don't want to hear. We want Kaida Tech. So we'll search for Kaida Tech. Search. There it is right there. Oh, I didn't click search. I'm used to clicking that magnifying glass. Okay, so we are going to click on kaidatech.net. Domain Manager. I went to Domain Manager. We're going to find the DNS management setting area, which is right here, Manage DNS. We're going to scroll down past all the other DNS records that exist, and we are going to add new DNS records. You're going to select the type of record you're adding. In this case, we're going to add the first record we're adding is an MX record. How do I know that? It's right here, MX, TXT, and TXT records. So the first one is this. Plop over here. Put the value in. Make sure there's no space before, no space after. It points to where. I'm going to copy that over here. Go there. Make sure there's no space before. The period is intentional. Priority, if you already have an MX record, which I know this account does. They use Outlook in a server, so that gets priority 1. So this is just to set the order of handling for the communications. It doesn't necessarily go 1, 2, 3, 4, but if you did 1, 2, 3, 4, where your first MX record is a 1 and your second one is a 2, that would work. The naming convention or numbering convention that I've seen out there is typically in increments of 10. So the first one would be either 0 or 1. The second one would be 10. And just leave it default to 1 hour. Click Save. And now we'll go get the second one, which is the TXT record. Come over here and we're going to add a TXT record. Plop in that. Make sure there's no space before, no space after. And we'll copy this. Plop it in here. Make sure there's no space before, no space after. Click Save. And then the last one, add a TXT record. Make sure no space before or after. Click the entire line for that. Plop it in here, no space before and after, and click Save. So we've just added in 3 records. We've added in the MX record, TXT, and TXT. And essentially, once we have added these in successfully, we should be able to be good to go. So before we do that, though, I want to also point out this Get CNAME record. If you come into your screen here, and you click Get. If it comes in at CNAME over here, just click Get Text Records. I believe the main difference, and I'm not a network configuration person, but from what I've seen, these are essentially kind of the same thing, but have to do with whether you're using dynamic or static IP on your server, which I'm not 100% sure. So just for me, I've always used the text records. And if you want more information or validation, you're going to have to go seek a more technical video to support that. But I have not had any problems doing this the way I'm doing it with CNAME. I I wouldn't recommend going that route. But again, it's up to you as far as how much information you need to support this decision. I just wanted to point out, if you don't see MX or TXT records, there's a toggle usually that lets you see the CNAME records, and then obviously a toggle back lets you get to the other types of records. So just for sake of, I'm going to give it a minute. I'm going to log out of here, close this out, and I'm going to refresh my connection to Kydatech's CRM. Hopefully I remember the password, or oops, Agile. It's Kydatech. So we're at 10 minutes. Hopefully I can wrap this up in the next minute or two. So in this case, we need to go to mail settings under admin, email settings. I'm going to try and do the verification of member service verify and see what happens. Oh, it didn't work. What? So I'm going to pause the video and check to see what's going on. Okay, well, I have discovered that likely it is a matter of just waiting. Typically, if this is done, it says 48 hours, but I have done this before and it was not 48 hours. So hopefully it's sooner than that. I'm looking to wait this out about 3 to 4 hours, and if it doesn't work after that, then I have to get someone else involved. So I will be doing another recording of this at about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock today. In the meantime, everything that I could have done, I've done. So now I have to go off and do some other work and put this one aside until about 4 or 5. Thanks for watching and watch me work mode. And hopefully I wasn't too all over the place, but it was a very, I think, successful time. And I look forward to seeing this through today. Have a great day. Thanks.